Hello everyone, it looks like we are live. I was ready an hour and a half ago, which means I definitely forgot some important stuff. I just don't know what it is yet. So, oh, where's my glassine? That would be helpful. Look, I'm already missing one thing, which really should be back here. We are drawing an octopus in charcoal tonight. Okay, seriously, where's my glassine? How did I lose that? That's like a big board. That's near impossible to lose. It's definitely in this general area. But I'm going to be drawing an octopus in charcoal. You can download your reference photo, the line art, all that fun stuff is over at patreon.com/Lachri. You do not need to be a member to access that. If it says you do, I screwed up, let me know and I'll fix it. Sometimes that happens. So I need to figure out where that glassine, oh, is that it? Yeah, nope, that's not it. I've got a bunch of pieces of cardboard like back under this area, so it probably got pushed back too far. Yeah, there it is. That is definitely it. Found it. Okay. I just need to wipe this down in case it has anything on it. It might get on the charcoal drawing. Oh, Karen is already getting us started with our super chats, and tonight we're going to do the same thing we did last week. If we hit 10 super chats, the boys get a full-size carrot, which I think is kind of funny because, you know, greyhounds and rabbits, and yet my greyhound's favorite thing is a full-size carrot. Like, they love having a carrot to chew on. So I just think that's adorable and kind of funny. Okay, but we have right now, you boys want a super chat? That's a yes. Okay, hold on, I gotta open the bag. I got big size super chats for you tonight. Big sweet potato chunks. If you have dogs, and especially if you are, well, they're healthy anyway, but like my in-laws have, their dogs are always super overweight. Sweet potatoes, like, it's super good for them. It's anti-inflammatory, and they absolutely love them. Thank you so much, Karen. The boys definitely thank you too. No, we're not gonna lick the floor. That's a soft tool cover. It's not even something you can eat. I don't know how, it fell on the floor. Let's move that. Okay. Lay down, Gibson. Down. He's like, maybe not. So what I'm working on tonight, this is MeWe. This artwork is a 5x7. If you are located within the US, you can bid on this until the end of the live stream at 10 o'clock Central Time. So we've got just under 2 hours. If you want to own this, the starting bid is $70, and it comes matted. The outer frame of the mat, or the outer size, will be a 10-inch. The inside is the 5x7 artwork. This is the smooth side of gray MeWe, and this gray has almost a bluish tint to it. Doesn't really matter because I'm going to cover it all up. My octopus, if you look at my reference photo, his arm is really barely any of his eye pokes out. So I drew mine so his eye's up forward a little bit, which will just, you want the eye to show a little bit more. So that is the plan there. Let's see. The supplies I'm using, if I did my job, which apparently I am failing at my copy paste game lately, they should be in the video description. What else? This drawing, the mat will cut off right about here. So not everything, actually that does need to go up higher. I missed a spot. Let me actually sketch that in really quick. I would like a hard pencil. These are all soft. Where's a hard one? Extra soft. I'm actually going the wrong direction there. Soft, screw it, good enough. So I'm missing part of the arm, just kind of, because the mat will actually come to about here. So I just want to make sure that that is, let's see, this goes that away. And this one's going to come down, and those circles will then continue on like that. Okay. There we go. Okay. And so the lead that or not lead, but the charcoal that I'm going to be using, I've got a couple of things. This one is a charcoal powder, and this stuff makes a mess. So, you know, just a warning there. I'm going to be applying that with the soft tools to fill in the main background areas. This is just going to save me a lot of time. And then I can work with an eraser from there to lighten things, or use my white charcoal pencil. The other thing are my General's white charcoal pencil. I love these. These are like, even if that's the only pencil you use on black MeWe, it's super nice. And then I've got a combination of hard extra soft and soft leads, I think medium. Normally I would go with like a soft lead and a hard lead, and that's really enough. You don't need all the in-between, so if you start feeling confused on which one to grab, just start with those, get used to using just two. Actually, you can even simplify it. Just go with a soft lead. Like if I could only choose one, I would probably go with soft. And that it blends better. It's not as great for detail, but it does blend better. So whenever you're looking at all your art supplies and you're like, yeah, but how do you know which pencil to use? Simplify it, use less. It's always going to be the right answer as you're learning, whether that means colors, like you don't know how to mix your colors, use fewer colors, maybe choose 3 colors. Get used to painting with those, then add additional colors as you go. And it's the same thing here. If you're struggling with the charcoal pencils, thinking extra soft, hard, which ones to use, choose one. Then once you get, like do at least one piece that way. Then maybe add a hard, so you've got a hard and a soft. And then add the medium as you get going. And the more you do, the more you'll start recognizing the difference between those leads. But in the beginning, you probably won't be able to tell that big of a difference because it's kind of overwhelming at first when you're trying everything for the first time. So there we go. Let's see. Next, we are going to start with that charcoal powder. So I'm going to open that and try not to make too big of a mess. You can see it's really dark, really messy. And I'm going to take my soft tools. I've just got these guys here. And we're going to start filling that in. And I don't know if I'm missing anything else I was supposed to go over before I started. So we're just going to get started. And I want to fill all the way to my tape, even though I know a lot of that is going to be covered by the mat. That way I can slide the mat around and position it how I want. And actually, I can see my line drawings with the lines really well. I use tracing and transfer paper to move my drawing onto this. I can see those spots just fine, so I'm going to go ahead and just go right over it. Make it darker. And you may be thinking, well, why didn't you just go with the dark gray paper? Because I can't find any. Apparently I'm out or I lost it. I don't know. This was as close as I could get, but it's way lighter than what I want. And so we're going to just go right over that. The harder you push, the more of the charcoal that you're going to rub off of the paper. So just be aware of that. And then there is a decent amount of fall off here. So when I'm done with this project, I will definitely have to take a wet paper towel or something and wipe off, or a rag, and wipe off my easel because it is going to build up on the bottom there. You know, one of the great things with charcoal powder versus using the pencil, like charcoal erases pretty well anyway, but it erases really well when you put it on with the charcoal powder. Like this will erase completely back to the original paper color. So if I want to use that for detail, I can. Now I could build this up as much as I want, but this gives me a pretty decent starting point, and then I can use my pencils from here. Okay. That was much easier, not having to work around this. And of course, if you have any questions, leave those now. I will be answering those at the end of the live stream. So if you think I'm ignoring you, I am, but only temporarily. Get some of this off my hands. Okay, I'm going to start with a soft or extra soft. This one's extra soft. That'll work. I am just going to start darkening up the background. Now, the reason that I'm going with the extra soft or a soft pencil is that is going to blend really, really smooth. It's going to lay down quickly. And it's going to blend smooth. Not great for detail compared to a harder lead, but it is going to go almost darker because it's so soft. I'll just kind of fade that out there. I'm going to start with the background before I start in on the octopus. And I already need, oh, I don't have my sharpening stuff. See, I wasn't as ready as I thought I was. I never am. This, I might need a couple of sharpeners. Now with charcoal, charcoal is going to be much more brittle. And so if you've got an old kind of dull sharpener, don't use it for your charcoal. You're not going to have a good time. It will break like crazy. Where did I get this one? I've got a handful of sharpeners to try out. They're just the metal comb sharpeners. Those are generally my favorites, although I do have a woodcutter comb. I have no idea where that came from. This is what happens when you're an art supply hoarder. Oh, that's a sharp lead. That is sharpening this pencil nicely. Oh, that made me way happier than it should have. Okay, so again, we're just going to fill that in. What is happening down here? Okay, that's his head. I'm keeping that center a bit lighter. My goal is to fade this in. Although if I go dark now, I can lighten it with a white charcoal pencil, and I think that might actually look better. So let's go that route. Change my mind, fill it all in with the dark. Okay. I can hold the charcoal to the side here. Just fill that in quickly. I am not pushing hard at all. Oh, I'm missing, let's see. Part of his little arm is supposed to stick out here, right around there. Completely missed that when I drew it out originally. I drew it out yesterday, but yesterday was a really bad day because my garage door broke and it looks like they can't fix it, and that's going to be like $2,300. And yeah, so that was not happy news. But anyway, the point is I was trying to get extra work done because I thought they were going to come back today and actually finish fixing it. Yeah, I never heard from them. I haven't given them any money yet. They actually replaced a bunch of parts on it yesterday and they couldn't get it to work. So yeah, fun times. Point is, I was ahead because I was trying to get it done in case they did it today. I did stuff yesterday apparently in a bit of a rush because this should have been drawn out properly. Okay, now I'm going to blend that out. And actually, I have two ways I can blend it. One is with the soft tool. Let's see how soft that goes. Nope, wiping way more off than I want. I can blend it with my finger, or I can blend it with a blending tool. I think I'm gonna use my finger for this. And while normally I don't like to use my fingers for stuff a lot with blending, I try to keep that off the paper. Actually, that is working pretty well. Never mind, I'm gonna use the blending step. Sometimes when it comes to charcoal, blending with your fingers just works better. Like, it just looks better. And so there are times that even though I would like to keep my hands clean and keep the oils from my skin off the work, sometimes we just have to do it anyway. I'm just gonna smooth that out a bit, so work in all directions. But yeah, the soft tool was pulling too much of that off the paper. I'm still gonna end up using my finger for part of that, because that is not going as smooth as I'd like it to be. I'll do the initial blending with this, and then I'll use my hand to blend out. And I don't care if this blends over the tentacles a little bit, that's totally fine. Okay. Now we get to go back over it again. Where did my sharpener of amazingness? I don't know if this is just because the blade is new, because I didn't even know I had it. It was in my art drawer apparently before I moved it. I mean, it had to have been when I moved it. It may have come in a smart art box or something like that. I'm going to need to order more. So I'm hoping it's not just a one-off fluke, because I can't believe how well it's sharpening my the soft charcoal pencil. I might just be lucky and this one happens to be like in really healthy condition, never been dropped sort of thing. But I am shocked that I'm able to sharpen. Those always break constantly when you try to sharpen the really soft ones. Okay, let's take a bit of white. This one will work. And I'm just gonna go over that lightly. Now, I am good with this having a bit of a sketchy look. I actually like that with charcoal. That's one of the things, and you can do something super, super realistic with charcoal. I really enjoy, I just like the results when it has that kind of sketchy, artsy feel to it. So, personal preference there. I'm just gonna smudge that out a bit. Add a bit more with the white. I'm doing this in little ovals, so I don't have super harsh start and stop points with the pencil. So it blends out better, and again, not pushing hard, because if you push hard, that is not going to blend as softly. Okay, if we want, actually, let's do some little rays of light coming down. I think that will be cute. Sharpen that pencil again. Some will have to go in front of the tentacle. I'll do some going behind, so the ones going in front, I'll come back through when we're done. And as I blend that, I'm just going to make sure I'm moving my finger in the same direction that I want the streaks to go. Obviously, don't go side to side here, or it'll smudge out too much. Okay, I like it. We're calling that part good. I'm going to use the condensation on my tea to get my hand wet so I can wipe the charcoal off. Also, if you notice my my email newsletter, if you're on that, those got sent all at the wrong time. The one that is supposed to go out like 15 minutes before the live stream starts, it used to be 10 minutes. This one only lets you, because I had to change email services. It went out an hour early. And then, so I'm not sure, like I was checking the time. I must have done the math wrong. I don't know. Something was obviously wrong. And then the other one was scheduled to go out at 5:45 this morning, and it went out last night at like midnight. I don't know why. I've got to figure that out on the new I'm using Mailer Lite now instead of Aweber, because screw Aweber. Price gouging. I almost called them a-holes and said it the wrong, like inappropriate way. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to use the white pencil, and I'm going to start in on these little suction cup guys. These have another term, and I don't remember what it is. I'm calling them suction cups because I'm a pro like that. These guys, so octopuses are really interesting. Like the people who keep them in home aquariums, it's very hard to get them to stay in the aquarium. They just kind of let themselves out, and they can change their body shape into pretty much anything to escape anything. And the nice thing as an artist about that is you can change anything. Like they can be almost completely deformed and still be realistic looking. Like these little circles are not exact to the reference photo. We're just going for close. And I'm excited about this to make this super high contrast with the light and the dark. The original reference photo was in color, and then I edited it and did some filters and stuff to give it more of that charcoal look that I'm going for. So I've got both included if you download those. So I'm just going to put the little circly guys on the end here. Let's see, this comes down there. Okay, and I'm going for a more subtle background. I'm not doing the high contrast there. I want most of this contrast to be on the octopus himself. So here I'm going to push a little bit harder where I want that clean line. And then I'm going to use my white pencil right on this area. I'm not pushing as hard. Now the white pencil, this is a harder lead. You're going to get more crisp lines with that than I am with the softer charcoal. Or that's our softer black, I'm sorry. It's all charcoal. Just soften that inner line a little bit. Just gonna make some little sketchy lines in there for the lighter area. And then we've got a little bit lighter here. And then we're gonna be a little bit lighter here. So I'm just looking at that photo and paying attention, where are my general lights and darks? And making sure you get that super high contrast. This is what's going to make the difference in your work looking really good. It's not about the detail. Having a ton of detail is not always the thing that makes your work look more realistic. Example is a lady I used to know who did pet portraits. And her work was so detailed. I mean, she put so much time into so much accurate detail, but all of her values were mid-tone. No definite lights, no definite darks, just all mid-range. And it was boring to look at. The artists in the same group who were doing pet portraits, that their work was not as detailed, not nearly as accurate, but the lighting was right, the contrast was right. Those were much more popular. So it really makes a difference how light or dark things are, that's something that you want to focus on. We have a tendency to think more detail means more realistic, and that's just not the case. The lighting matters so much more. Like here, I'm not going to have nearly the same amount of detail because this is small as the reference photo, but it'll still have that realistic look. Where did I put, there it is, because of the strong lighting that I'm going to be going for. I'm just softening some of this out. I'm going to pull a little bit more white to separate that leg right from the background. And then we've got all of the insides are pretty light on this. You see, I'm not being super careful. They don't need to be perfect circles or anything like that. Now they all need a little bit of a dark center in especially the bigger ones, that dark. I just did it with a circle. I just left it blank, and now I don't have to go back and redraw the inside part. So as you're doing this, I'm going in a circle there and leaving the dot in the center. Leave the dot. I mean, if you don't do it, you can go back and draw the dot in the middle of all those too. So it's not the end of the world, but make your life easier so you don't have to go back and do that. Let's see. This one goes off. I'm just going to draw a few of those in there to make sure whenever the mat sits that it at least has circles there if it slides too far to the side. And the mat's going to cut some of that off, but I'm going to continue the artwork all the way to the edge of the tape. And this is an acid-free, that pH neutral tape. You don't want to use regular masking tape on your artwork because tape always leaves a bit of residue. And we do not want that little bit of residue to stick if it is not a pH neutral or acid-free one. That can actually cause problems over the years. Where that is on there, it can start to yellow and make it all crusty. And of course, we've got to fill those in, leaving that center again. Not that big of a center. I'm overdoing that a little bit. My hand's already getting tired. Look how nice that stands out from that background though. I'm going to sharpen that pencil. Okay, let's see, we've got a whole light area in here. We've got a little bit of another arm over here. It barely shows, but we'll just fill that in now. And then I'm going to take the darker one and go around those, so especially focusing on the areas that are really dark. Now I'm going to come through and do details around those tentacles, and depending on how much time I have at the end, that's how much, like, I may have a ton of time to work on that. I may not. I'm going to hold off on doing too much detail on those just yet, so I can do it at the end. That way I can do the same detail here as I do here. I don't want to spend too much time here and not have enough time to make the other side match. So I will definitely be doing that. I went through, if you guys remember, the peregrine falcon from last week. I actually went through, I spent another, I don't know how long I spent more on it, but just refining details and adding more, like blending with OMS, making things super smooth. Love how he came out. He's on my website now, and if you are unaware, I actually have a lot of art. I've been adding, every Monday, I add at least one new piece to my original art on my website. So you can check that out if you want to see what's there. I'm going to blend this and actually blend these a bit. I didn't realize how much my website had not been updated. Like it had been a long time. So yeah, I've been for the last maybe month, no, more than a month now. I've been putting a new one up. Like that's one of my Monday things. New art release. Well, not really new. I just didn't have them on my website. One of the reasons, that's kind of a good lesson for all of us. One of the reasons that I never updated my website is there's so much, I have so much art that needs to be put up there. And so it always felt overwhelming. And it finally clicked. I'm like, just put one a week. Like one a week is better than, yeah, it's not all of them I have available, but it's still a lot better than not putting anything up. So yeah, do what you can versus not doing anything at all. Okay, we've got the face now. So I moved my eye out way further. Let's see, we've got his little eyelid up top, eyelid in the bottom. I'm sure it has another name. Someone can correct me. But I'm calling it an eyelid. And I'm going to leave that really sketchy. Ow, this elbow has just been punished for weeks now. I hit it on the back of a door while mopping the other day, like weeks ago, and I keep hitting it on things now, and it is not, that bruise is just not getting better. So I'm here to whine about it. But I just did it again, and that really hurt. If I cry, we all know why. Like it was just the tiniest tap too. Okay, I'm gonna blend that out. This is another area that I can leave more smooth, or I can come back and do a ton of detail later, depending on the time. I'm already really liking how this guy's coming out. I can tell he's gonna be a good one. We're going to do a little bit of a shadow here. And then I'll come back there. I'm going to go ahead and finish the other two arms. Is it on camera? Yeah, we should be. Yeah, you can see everything. Jason said, are you going to build up so that you do another auction? It wasn't an auction that I did. It was the live sale. I need to see how much I have that I can do lower prices on. I don't know. I was thinking about doing one in November, well, this month, but I need to see what all I have that I can give good discounts on, like, and make that practical. So we've got the little circles, and I'm just going to follow. See, mine aren't the same size. They're not exactly in the same location. I'm just following the general location of how they move on that reference photo. But yeah, the plan was to do a sale in November. They're actually really hard to plan for because I have to have it all on my website. Let's see, this way. I have to have it all, like, those are a lot to get everything up. So yeah, I'm going to try, but I've got to see what I've got. But since I've been auctioning most of the work, from the live streams, I don't normally have much available in the lower price range. And then especially if I keep going through and fancying them up for my website, those are going to sell for more. Like any of the live stream work that doesn't sell, that's going to sell for a lot more once I spend more time on it. Which I'm not sure if I should be doing because they look, like I like how they look at the end of the live stream. I don't know if I should just leave them as is and then leave them at a lower cost. I don't know. Oh, this looks cool. My husband is going to want this bad. Does he have bids on him? Because I'm pretty sure Matt is going to claim this for himself if it doesn't sell. Matt loves anything with squids or octopuses. Let's pull this up so I can keep an eye on it. You know, if you're in the US, thanks Jen, the Falcon updates look amazing. Thank you so much. You know, one of the things too that happens is they always look better in person or when I get good photos. When they're on the live stream, now this looks really, really accurate to what I'm seeing in person, but usually like the stuff in color don't look as good on the live stream. This camera is just not, live stream cameras never are great. But that's one of the reasons too, like they always will look better when you actually see them. And I got good photos of that Falcon, so that's part of why he looks better. Well, that night, of course, spent more time. But thank you. Oh yeah, I was doing these circles. I started skipping ahead to the less tedious part. Jason said, how about making some different value work to set up, like making new artwork? See, the problem with that is it's really time consuming. Even like small projects are really time consuming, not just to do, but then I have to get the good photos. I've got like, it's actually a lot. So yeah, I do like the idea of having a lot of different price range. One of the things I would do though, different if we do a live sale, I'm gonna have some giclées in-person prints that I can sign right there for you if you want it signed. And those are the higher quality prints than what are on my website. The prints on my website are nice, but those are going to be your more poster quality, whereas the giclées are giclées. So it's on matte paper, like super fancy prints. Because I had a bunch that I used for Aquashella. Well, I won't do Aquashella anymore. Those shows are just, they're fun. Well, not so much anymore. They were fun. They were more like a festival type thing. That's why I did them. But I just don't make enough to make it worth it because I don't do a lot of shows. So I have to invest a lot to get prints, which I don't normally. Anyway, point is I have a bunch of prints now. So that is one thing that I can sell. And they're not cheap though. That's the thing. Giclées, like they're still a lot more expensive than the prints on my website, but cheaper than original art. And because they're giclées, they look great. So that can be something else that I have available. And then maybe other merch, like something to be fun to do, like a sticker pack or a mini print. So those of you on Patreon on the top tier, you guys know you get the mini prints with that. Well, I always have extras of those too. So I can sell maybe a pack of 10 mini prints. So there are other things that I could sell during that event. So I want to do it. It's just, again, the time consuming, like it is. And then packing all that, oh my gosh, it's a lot. But I really should do it because they are fun. I'm talking myself in and out of it at the same time. Do any of you guys do that? Like play devil's advocate to yourself? Like I will sit and argue with myself about something for a ridiculous amount of time. Like I want to argue all the sides of every possible pro and con of something. I can also stress myself out about just about anything. That's another superpower of mine. Okay, if somebody bids on this, I think I just can't show it to my husband because he's going to try to steal it. Black and white and an octopus. Yeah, that's definitely something he would like. If my mom is watching, you can't have it. Matt already claimed if it doesn't sell, I'm sure. Even though he hasn't seen it yet, he would. My mom always wants to claim everything. I mean, I do send her a lot of stuff, but she wants all of it. I don't know how many walls she thinks she has, but she wants all of it. that shows, but just in case, we're going to throw a couple more down below. Okay, one more over here. I'm not sure how much of this shows with the matte. So if this sells, I will matte it live so you can see, you know, if you're new and you haven't seen how I matte the artwork, I'll do that live if it sells. If not, in case I decide to make changes on it, I probably won't. Maybe I just won't tell Matt about it and I'll list it on my website if it doesn't sell. That may be an option. Is that wrong? Is that like keeping secrets? I don't think it really is, right? It's work. Okay, now I get to start playing around with the detail. We're only 8:36. Oh, I've got plenty of time to get detail. I need a drink of tea first. Oh, that's good. Okay. So let's start with the face. I want to create some texture in here, just kind of these little sketchy lines. I should probably sharpen that pencil first. And I'm just kind of giving the hint of texture here. Not pushing super hard, just not making it, I just don't want it to be quite that smooth. I'm gonna come back through with my soft pencil in between. Let's darken some of this. Oh, extra soft is nice and dark. This is a good time to start using that extra soft. Look how dark that is. And then this is the back of his head. So we've got more of these little, I'm just gonna do a bunch of little ovals and I'll fill the inside with some black. It's more of the illusion of texture or of detail. I'm not creating actually that much detail. They're just quick little sketches. Oh, Art by MB has a treat. Do you guys want a super chat? Yay! Thank you. We're 2 out of 10 on our way to our full carat goal. Okay, go lay down. That's funny. Who's talking about Home Depot deliveries? I just had a Home Depot delivery today. Lay down. Lay down. For an armoire that was for Matt's room. He has major storage issues. So we found one. It was, I don't know if you guys know this, by the way, pro tip. Reverse image search. So we found an armoire that he liked pretty well on, you know, it's cheap. It's not a super, well, kind of expensive, but not like, we're not talking nice quality is what I mean. Found one on Wayfair. Oh, that pencil broke. We found it on Wayfair and I did a reverse image search with Google and we found it for like $80 less on Home Depot. Exact same thing. So definitely take advantage of that. When you are price checking for your Christmas gifts and stuff this year, do reverse image searches because sometimes it'll like pull up with it on Amazon or Amazon, Wayfair, and Home Depot are my normal go-to place for like any type of home furniture sort of thing for like good prices. Well, I go for cheap, let's be realistic. But anyway, they said they were sending it with FedEx and they gave me the shipping, the tracking number, and I've been checking and they said it would be here Thursday. And I keep checking, I'm like, wow, they haven't even sent it yet. And it's coming from Katy, Texas, so it's not super far away. Haven't even sent it yet. Today, Matt gets home from work, it was already out on my porch. I got no notification from Ring. It never said that it shipped. I had the tracking info, but it was like, and then just here. I mean, FedEx was who they were shipping it for, but I thought that was super weird. Tomorrow I get to put that together. Yay. Wish me luck. There will be many swear words involved, so I will not be recording that process. I'm going to lighten up just this area a bit, kind of getting some sketchy lines in there for some more texture. So again, this is the back of his head. We've got his eye. Let's make sure that's nice and stands out really well. Okay, now let's work on... I'm starting to get, my hand is touching this a bit too much. So I definitely need to slide this over. Let's define these now. So these ones are actually not as bright. I'll come through and do a little bit of shading with the dark. And that will pull attention to this arm up here. I don't know why I shared my super long, boring Home Depot delivery story. It wasn't really Home Depot. It was kind of FedEx. Didn't FedEx or UPS trap you in your house once? With where they put the boxes, or I don't remember. I've got several like where they kind of blocked ways, so I don't know. They do have a tendency to block my door. Okay, so now I'm pushing harder and I'm just defining the areas that I want to be a little bit brighter. Oh, we've got two. Yay! So we have the first from Oriole Beagle. Do you boys want a super chat? That was a definite yes. I'm going to make them lay down in between, though, for good practice. This is a good training practice. Good boys. Go lay down. You can take it to your bed. Go lay down. Cow, you can chew and walk. Lay down. Apparently not. We can't chew and walk. Down. Gibson, lay down. Trust me, you want to lay down sooner the better. Because Nick also said goals must be met, plus the lads need a treat. Gibson, down. Oh, Wade's head popped up. You don't know that word, sir. Don't make me have to start spelling to hide things from you. I don't use that word for you. You want another super chat? Yeah? Want one from Nick? You got big ones here. Oh, wait, that's a really big one. I need a really big one for Gibson. Do you guys do that with your dogs? I'm like, they have to be even. It has to be fair. Not that they would notice if one got a small one, but you know. Thank you so much. We're 4 out of 10 towards our carrot goal. Okay, go lay down. I don't remember, Joseph. That sounds like something that probably happened. Okay, lay down. Down, 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 down. They do that all the time, like in my doorway, just everything. Yeah, so probably. I don't remember the specific scenario. Okay, back to art. Thank you, guys. I'm going to darken this a little bit on these outer ones. I actually think the mat cuts that off anyway. I can also use this pencil to really underline some of these. I'm going to need to sharpen that. And we're going to lighten a bit, just kind of a sketchy. I don't need to blend that, just sketch a little bit in there. I'm going to rough that edge up on the inside. Getting the hint of detail in there. They're really just squiggles. Underlining, kind of a half circle on the underside of a bunch of these. Okay, these ones are way too bright. I'm going to tone that way down. I'm just going to lightly go over that. Kind of look better if that was a little bit out of focus anyway, as big as it is, or you know, that's up close. But yeah, push those back a bit. Just lightly shade them now. I really don't think much that shows with the matte. We'll test it in a bit. Oh, I didn't even fill these ones in. Missed the whole section. Those ones kind of fade out and then it twists back around so you start seeing those again. Let's see, we've got some highlights. Oh, I totally skipped this whole center. if you are new here and you are looking for more of these longer format tutorials, but way more detail, check out my Patreon. For as little as $6 a month, you get access to all of my longer tutorials. I have over 400 available, new ones almost every single week in multiple mediums: colored pencil, acrylic painting, oil painting, Inktense, watercolor pencil, graphite, charcoal. I mean, seriously, there's tons of mediums. Digital painting, there's tons of if you have a tablet. And I try to keep the digital painting lessons to something that would work if you have like an Apple tablet or like I have my Samsung. I've been doing the lessons on those. So it's something that anybody could do if you've got one of those tablets. So yeah, tons of lessons, as little as $6 a month, gets you every single lesson. I don't separate lessons based on your tier. You get all of them for $6 a month. I want to keep that price as low as I can, and you get new stuff all the time. So definitely check that out, patreon.com/Lachri. We also have, Pauline said the pups are really hungry tonight. Oh, look at, Wade's looking at me. He's like, I am. Oh, you are cheaters. I did not call you. Look, that's a bad cow. That bad cow just let himself up. Thank you so much. Okay. Grabbing the big ones again. So we are 5 to 10 of our goal, and then they get a big carrot. Huh. Is that good? Okay, go lay down. Thank you so much. That one was Pauline, right? Yep, Pauline. Okay. Go chomp over in your bed. Lay down. Wade, cow, down. Down. See, the problem is he got to not obey. He knew he's supposed to wait till I actually call him. And then he gets to where he's like, well, I don't have to listen to you about anything now. Bad cow. Gibson, down. You're just standing there. Down. Down. He's like, well, you might call me back. I may as well just stand here. Good boy. Okay. So really what I'm focusing on, while I am adding detail, I'm also making sure, like right now, I'm gonna make that a lot darker. I'm focusing on the lights and darks because that's what makes this piece, or will make it, very striking. It's not as much, anywhere near as much about the detail as it is the contrast, the values. And I am not planning to blend most of this. I actually really like this sketchy look. I love that with charcoal. Darken up a little bit, so I'll just, these I will blend a little just so that it mixes with the white. If you find that you struggle with values, do some work in black and white. This is one of the best ways to really perfect and practice values. Charcoal I love the best for learning that because it's such a fast medium. It's one of the most inexpensive mediums, so wherever you're at in life with your finances, chances are you can get some charcoal, or save up. It shouldn't take you too long with that. Like, it really, I think it is the most inexpensive. Maybe graphite, maybe charcoal, I don't know. But you can work so quickly that it gives you very quick practice with those values. Just doing a little shading there. Oh, this extra soft pencil is so nice and dark, but you have to be really careful not to push hard or it will snap. It is a super soft lead. So I found some really cool looking frames. I've never used this sort on Amazon. I need to buy some. I want to do some more product reviews, like Amazon type product reviews. So if you see something on Amazon that's not horribly expensive, if you want to send it to me, I can buy it and test it and let you guys know how it goes. If there's something you're interested in, let me know. Like, I'm not talking $100 stuff, you know, we're talking the cheapies, but not so much with like paint, because I can pretty much tell you most of that crap is crap. Like, I don't need to review it. I can just tell you it's crap, the generic stuff on there. But like paint brushes, if there's a type of paintbrush you want me to test out, I'm trying to think, like the frames, that sort of thing. I'm not really willing to try most of the other art supplies because most of those are not archival, like the cheap stuff. So those I'm not talking about. I'll give you my review now. They're bad, don't buy them. Or at least that would be my advice. But I am a huge fan of inexpensive brushes, and Amazon has a lot of good ones. Like, I've gotten several sets from them, planning to do reviews, I never did, but they've been really surprisingly good. I mean, they may fall apart earlier than like a Simply Simmons brush, but for the price, I'm not complaining. I love this stage of art where it's mostly done. You just get to sit and fuss over little details. Now, I am not going to put bubbles in this, and I often do with underwater stuff, but I think that the circles, I think it would look like, it would be too many circles between his arm. It would be like, draw attention to where I don't want it to be. So I am not going to do that this time. Wow, look at the difference between this one and this one just from sitting and fussing over little details. It doesn't seem like I spent that long on it, but wow, what a difference already. And I'm not pushing super hard with this. This is that extra soft. It would, oh, that is extra soft, but yeah, that would definitely give me the finger if I did. Being flipped off by a pencil is just a new level of insulting. Oh, we have from Dan said, what are your thoughts on compressed charcoal compared to vine charcoal? So I don't like how messy it is. We'll give the boys a treat while I talk about that. You come get your super chat. Thank you so much, Dan. I don't love how I've used the vine charcoal. It tends to be harder usually. Now, I don't know, maybe you can get softer ones, but the ones I have were always pretty hard. But it also was just, I end up with it on my fingers in a way I don't like. I definitely personally prefer the pencils because my hands stay a lot cleaner, and I'm weird about that. I can't say that I've ever given the vine charcoal a serious go. I've done a few sketches with it because it's kind of neat, I guess, artsy feeling, but I don't like it. I don't feel like I have nearly as much control with that as I do with my pencils. But to be fair, again, I've just not given it that much of a chance because I was like, oh, my hands are getting dirty. I don't want to keep doing this and perfect my skills with it. So I'm just not a huge fan, but it could be a lack of experience because I'm weird about my hands, you know, getting dirty. I like that these have a pencil casing for me to hold on to. Lay down. So yeah, that's not maybe the answer you're looking for, because I can't give a full review just because, like, I don't feel like it would be a fair review because I haven't used it enough. But I also don't want to because, you know, messy, and I'm a weirdo. Also, thank you. So I'm just kind of giving some texture in here, little details. Yeah, I think I will matte this whether it sells or not because I don't think this is gonna need extra details. I think what we get tonight will be just fine. Oops, wrong pencil. This little suction cup guys go in a different direction. And here I'm using the soft versus the extra soft because I don't need this to be as dark right now. So it's kind of more of a medium darkness level. Look what a difference just that little bit of detail starts making on that. Oh, he looks good. I'm liking him. Is it super narcissistic to be all excited about how something you're drawing is coming out? I think that's important though as an artist to be excited and enjoy the process. Too often artists only see what they dislike about their work, and it's important to also notice what you don't like so you know how to fit, you know, what you want to fix. But it's so easy to get hung up on what you don't like that you don't enjoy things. You're not proud of what you create. You need to be a bit, like, let yourself be a bit of a narcissist and be overly proud of everything you do. No matter what you create, it's something that didn't previously exist, and it's a really cool thing. Like, that's a good thing. To make stuff instead of so many people in the world just want to destroy and tear other people down and destroy things. We want to make stuff, and making anything, good or bad, is something to be proud of. Like, even if it doesn't come out exactly how you want. Try not to be too rough on yourself when you create something that you don't love. Plus, the other thing that's really interesting with art is you may make something you don't love and somebody else thinks it's the best thing they've ever seen. So art is so subjective anyway. I'm going to go over that edge with the soft. Actually, I think that's extra soft. Didn't I see? Nope, that's soft. I just want to let that fade a little bit there. I thought I was going to pull some of the rays of light in front of the tentacles, deciding if I want to. I kind of like them in the distance the way it is. What did DJ say? Quick, before Matt takes it. Yeah, if you want to bid on this guy, the starting bid is $70. And he is definitely a good one. Link, if you're in the US, the link is in the video description. Texture down here on this arm. So a lot of what I'm doing is sketchy little squiggles, some variation there. I think most of this side gets cut by the mat. I could be wrong, so just in case, I'm going to fill it in. If I wasn't lazy, I'd go grab the mat and check the size. But the laziness is strong. Just little squiggles in there to add some extra detail. I'm going to pull my extra soft, that is this one. I'm going to darken up his head right here and really separate that from that leg. I thought I'd be using the eraser more to lighten stuff up. I don't even need it. Which works out just fine because I don't know where it is right now. I know where the needed one is, but not my other, like my, if you don't have them already, the Tombow mono erasers are so like, oh, they're wonderful for charcoal. They work so well for little details. That is her lead. We'll go with the extra stuff. Oh, we have DJ said, since I can't bid, doggy time. Oh, thank you so much. Do you boys want a super chat? That is a yes. Oh, this is another big piece. 2 big pieces coming up. You like when I'm lazy about chopping those up into, when I'm too lazy to chop them into smaller pieces, they get big pieces. Because, again, with the laziness is just very strong in me today. Thank you so much. Again, if you have questions, leave those now. I will be answering those at the end of the live stream, or once I'm not the end of the live stream, when I'm done with the art portion of this. Okay, boys, go lay down. Lay down, 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 down. Gibson, today. Slowest race dogs ever. Why are you standing there? Look it, can I go any slower? The Andy's down. Okay, yeah, the boys are loving this. Boys love, love, love Super Chat Night. They know when I'm getting, well, because I'm actually taking off my pajamas and putting on real clothes and did my hair and stuff. They know when the live stream is coming. They'll be in here laying on the carpet just waiting for it. Gibson a couple weeks ago was in here with his chatter teeth, super excited. It must seem so weird to them because they don't know I'm talking to you guys, so they're thinking, in their head, I'm sitting in here by myself, rambling away and randomly giving them treats. They must think I am so crazy. I mean, they're not wrong, but it's still funny. Like, to a dog, it must seem very bizarre. Like, Mom's talking to herself again, but she gives us treats when she does. Like, and they don't do that during the week when I'm drawing, like, my Patreon, the longer lessons. They don't sit in here for that, or, you know, waiting. Gibson sometimes lays in here, but not all excited thinking he's going to get treats. It's just they know when it's live stream night. So this board, if you're not familiar, or if you weren't here last week, this is a piece of, it's glassine, back it up. It's just a piece of cardboard that I taped glassine to the front of. And so this I can now set along my easel and I can move it easily. Before I was taping it and I kept having to tape, untape, and move it around, and it was such a pain. So I finally did this. It has been so much better. Oh, my lead broke. The extra soft, even in my fancy sharpener, is definitely starting to not be happy with my choices. The lead is, that one is actually stuck in there. It's probably getting dull just from tonight. Come on. What do I have that I can poke that out with? Well, that is really in there. There we go. Let's see if that'll sharpen this time. Go slower. Get in there. Don't break. Don't break. And it broke. Dang it. We've hit that stage of the night. Maybe the other side won't break as much. Let's find out. Oh, that doesn't even work. It's just too big. Okay, let me see if I can fix this. Where did that pencil go? We'll lube that up with a regular graphite pencil, and let's see if it'll sharpen better this time. Fingers crossed, and that's a no. This may just have hit a point where the pencil itself is too, it may have been dropped or broken. Let's do this instead. Let's grab a new one. You are a hard, we're not using that tonight. Extra soft. Let's see if you'll sharpen. Maybe? Nope, broke completely. Oh, we're in for it. I may have to go find a razor blade and sharpen it that way. Or let's try a different sharpener. I'm making a mess. This is getting all over. Oh, this sharpener is dull as heck. That wouldn't, nothing is going to sharpen on that one. I should, if I was smart when I realized one was dull, I would put it to the side to change the blade or throw it out, whatever. But I don't. I just keep putting them back in the same with all of the sharpeners go together. And so I never know which one's dull or sharp, which is not smart on my part, but you know, it's my reality. Okay, there we go. Let's get some of these details in here. Oh, I am loving this. This is so fun. Seriously, if you guys have not used charcoal in a while, because I know a lot of artists get to where they're using like all colored pencil or all the other fancy ones, do the charcoal. It is the most satisfying because you get like almost instant gratification. Look at this. In just an hour, how cool you can make something in a short amount of time. Oh, what happened? Did I doze off? Hold on. Why am I getting messages? Me? Oh, Nick. Never mind. Sorry. That's not a message for me. That is a message for Nick. I was like, did it cut out? What happened? Just again, going to spend some time cleaning this up. Sorry for the annoying squeaky sound if that's something that bothers you. Actually, I don't even know if the mic is going to pick that up or not. Remember, when you're working on your values, if you're doing something and your lights don't feel light enough, and you've gotten as light as you think you can get, and you're like, it's still not bright enough, it's because your darks aren't dark enough. What is next to it is not dark enough. So same thing, if your darks, you're like, it's as dark as I can get in, it still doesn't look dark enough. It's because the lights next to it aren't light enough. Hype up the contrast between those lights and the darks, and you go darker, what's next to the light will now appear a lot brighter. So you've seen the sunset paintings where you feel like you have to squint at it because the sunset, it's the sun in the background coming through the clouds is so super bright. That's because the artist made the clouds next to it or whatever is next to it is super dark, and that makes that bright feel brighter. It's not that their white paint or their light colors are lighter than yours. It's the way that they're layering and they're getting that or the way that they're putting the contrast between those together. And I would pretty much always rather see stuff a little too dark and a little too light than boring mid-range. Remember, when you're looking at your reference photo, especially you can see as mine, it's a guideline. It's not something that has to be exact. I'm just going to lighten some of this up a bit. Not all of them, just a few of them. I want to get some variation here. Now my reference photo, the one that I put the filter over to make it look kind of charcoaly, is that a word? That overexposed all of my lights, which I liked, but it also made all of these the same level of super bright. If you look at the reference photo, this whole arm is like just white. I don't want it that white. I think that's too much. So that's what I'm talking about. That reference photo is a guideline, but as an artist, do what you think makes it look better. Don't feel like everything has to look exactly like the reference photo. And that's another thing that a lot of people do. They get frustrated because it doesn't look like the reference photo. They feel their work is not good enough. Sometimes it's better for it not to be exactly like the reference photo. Don't get discouraged when it's not, because there's a possibility that it looks better. Like, keep that in mind. Exact does not mean better. I mean, it depends on what you're doing. You want the eye in the right place, you know, that sort of thing, except on an octopus because they move their eyes, like the shape of their head, all over the place. They're a little bit of a oddity in that. But like, let's say you're drawing a dog. The eyes need to be in the right place. The nose needs to be in the right place. Ears outside of the line drawing. But the clumps of fur don't need to be exact to the reference photo. Go for close. You're fine there. So just don't get too discouraged if it's not exactly right. Figure out what you like versus what you don't like. Like, if you look at something and think, okay, I think mine needs to be brighter here, then go ahead and change that. But if yours is brighter than the reference photo and you like how it looks better, leave it brighter. That's okay. It doesn't have to be exact. Here, almost done with this. I'm not seeing a whole lot more I want to do. And this is what I mean with charcoal. Like, it is, seriously, it's like the medium of instant gratification. Super, ow, my poor freaking elbow, and that, keep hitting the easel. But what you can accomplish in a really short amount of time, if you are somebody who you just need a medium to be quick, you want that instant gratification, do this. And even if you're still using, you know, your super slow colored pencils or something like that, which, don't get me wrong, I love, but it's nice to do these quick projects in between, which are just really, really satisfying. Okay, let's go ahead and see where I need to sign this. So I'm going to hold the mat up. I'm going to sign over his head right here. I need to go actually up a bit further. Okay. Now I need to put a quick layer of Spectrafix. There's not much in this bottle before I take it off of or take the tape out. Oop, come on, yeah, there we go. Okay, the drying with the hairdryer serves two purposes. One, it just dries it faster, but two, Spectrafix, I'm working on Inktense MeWe. That stuff is kind of like a sponge, so when you spray it, it really absorbs everything, it soaks into the paper, and then it works. So by using the hairdryer, it's going to help it to dry back flat into shape. So that is why we did that. Now I can go ahead and pull that out. I don't want to mess. Let's grab this. Whoops, got some tweezers over here to pull this off. There we go. And I want to go super slow. And this is so important. Always, always, always go slow. You can heat it with a hairdryer if you need to, but also pull away from the art. Don't pull into the art. You go that direction and it starts to tear, it's going to tear into the art. So just very slow. You'll see this is not centered by how I have the tape. It's just, all I care about is that it sits nicely in the mat, because that's gonna, I'll cut that off. Again, super slow. It's always safer to heat this with the hairdryer a little bit. It'll loosen that up so it's not as adhesive. And here's another thing, be extra careful. The longer your tape sits, the more that tape starts to bond to the paper and the more likely it is going to be to tear. I put this tape on last night, which is kind of pushing it for how long I like tape to be on this paper. Inktense Inktense, it rips really easy. So usually I put it on right before I draw, especially something like this that I'm going to do quickly. There we go. Okay, now we are going to mat. Oh, look how I so love how this guy came out. Okay, again, you can bid on him. Starting bid is $70. I need to clean up and dry this area up because my tea left water all over. Give me 1 second to put my pencils away. So I've got this workspace and we'll mat this guy up. And when I buy mats, I almost always stick with black. Every once in a while I'll use white, but normally I stick with black mats because they typically are gonna work with everything, whereas the other colors can be iffy on if it works with the buyer's home. Black is just a safer way to go. Of course they can change it out. It's not like a mat is permanent. So if somebody buys your work and they decide they want a different color, they can always remove the mat and change that. But when I mat things to sell, black is so much safer than most other things. Okay, I've got to activate this. Actually, make sure this is completely dry. We'll activate this camera. Let's see here. We need the palette one. Sorry, that's black on purpose. I'm still here. We're just activating a camera. There we go. Okay. Again, make sure that's nice and dry because my tea leaked. Okay, well, it didn't leak, it's just condensation. So we need this stuff here. I need some thin black tape. I need some double-sided acid-free tape. We've got both right here. Okay. Now these mats, I should have it in the video description, the ones I get. I buy them on Amazon. Golden State Art, I've been buying from them way before they were on Amazon. That is the company I buy my mats from. They have really good prices for the quality. And I usually buy them in bulk, like 30 at a time or 25. So what I need to do first is set this mat in there, get that positioned how I want. And then I'm going to slide that down, flip it over, make sure it's kind of straight, flip it back over, make sure it's still good. Yes. Actually, can we go a little bit lower? Okay. Now I'm going to use tape, and you want to make sure, again, this is an acid-free, I don't know if you can see in there, the pH neutral tape. We need that to be, for the same reason I was talking about before. You may think, well, it's the back, it doesn't really matter. Well, the acid in that tape over the years will start to yellow the paper and cause it to get brittle. So we want to make sure we're sticking with acid-free tape. Somebody was telling me that a framer was telling them they don't like any tape anywhere near the artwork. That just isn't really a practical option for me, so we just go with acid-free, pH neutral. And I've not had a framer tell me that specifically, so I don't know how big of a deal that is. Okay. sometimes people come up with stuff that is just simply not true, so it's always hard to figure out what to believe. We're gonna put tape all along the back here. So I get these that are I'm super tape happy. You should see the box if you order from me. Yeah, there's a lot of tape involved. But it, where was I going with that? Oh, I get the ones, it comes in with a pack, so it has the mat, it has the bag and the board. And I definitely recommend going that route because it's going to make the work look much more professional. I'll show you in just a second what I mean by that. You don't need as much tape as what I'm doing. Now it's a photo tape, it's an acid-free tape, double-sided, and it's going just along the outside. It's not touching the art at all. But when you sell work, one of the things that a lot of artists will do is they'll just kind of cheap out, and I get it, we don't have any money, but they'll do the mat, and that does look nice, but that's what the back looks like. And it's not as professional looking. So by doing what I'm gonna do with the bag and the board, it suddenly elevates the art so much more. So the buyer feels like they're getting a more complete item. Yeah, when this goes into a frame, it doesn't really matter what's on the back. But watch what happens by just doing the bag and board. It is going to like seriously elevate it so much. So I started using tweezers for this. It is so much easier than getting, my glasses over there, using my fingernails. Like, why didn't I start doing this years ago? That is way easier than picking at this. Way faster. Like the tweezers grab so fast. I used to fight with that. Like, well, you guys have seen me fight with that. Oops, that one I fought with a little bit. Oops, that one is not stuck down all the way. There we go. Now the stuff I sprayed it with earlier, Spectrafix, that's not, it's kind of like a sealer, sort of, but not really. Like it's going to help the charcoal to adhere to the paper better long term. If you don't do that, it does have a tendency to start to kind of fall off. Like over the years, it just, you'll see it on the outside of the mat. It'll end up sitting right on the border here. So by putting the fixative over it, it's gonna help it to just adhere long term to that paper. But that doesn't mean you can wipe your hand across it and it protects it. It would still smudge. So just be aware of that. Okay, nope, wrong camera, that camera. And apparently I just turned something off. I guess I don't need it on. Now, here is the board. I am just going to line this up. And push that down. Now, just from that, look at how much more professional, oops, that's upside down. Look how much more professional that is when they flip over the back and it's like a card, or a thick cardstock, like, well, it's cardboard, it's white cardboard. But it looks so much more professional than having the tape and everything exposed back there. And then I get this is your bag, and we're going to put that in there. And now this guy is ready to ship or sell if you're at like an art show or something. And the nice thing this way is it's going to protect it from fingerprints, smudges, all of that. So even better is when they're in a board. Look at now this versus just matting the artwork, putting in the backing on it, and then putting this on, how much nicer it looks. Now, one thing you can do if you've got mats, like if I get a mat, a bigger size mat at, let's say, Michael's, and it doesn't come with the board or the bag, you can buy the bags by themselves. Those, I think I got those on Amazon too. But you can I've taken Bristol vellum because it's acid free, so that's gonna be safe. It's not as thick as this, but I have cut it out the same size as the mat and used that as a backing when my mat didn't have it, so that when I sold it and the person got it, it looked like a finished, complete artwork. Another thing you can do, it does not cost a lot of money to have stamps made. I had it with my old logo with the goldfish, where it said Lachri Fine Art, and I think it said Lachri.com, or maybe it just said Lachri.com, I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But I used to put a stamp right here on the back with my logo on it. So that was a pretty cool thing to do too. But there we go. There is the finished octopus if you want to own him. The starting bid is $70. Oh, I love, love, love how this guy came out. He would look good on my wall. Maybe I won't tell Matt about it at all if he doesn't sell. We'll see. There we go. Okay, let's answer your questions. Let's actually clean my hands first. I am going to take the condensation off of my tea and use that to wipe charcoal off my hands. It is, oh God, I've got charcoal everywhere. I made a mess tonight. More than usual. Okay. Now we will we'll go on to our, oh, we've got a good amount of questions here. Let me make sure, whoops. There we go. Okay. Linda said, can you use the touch-up titanium white on pastels? Yeah, you absolutely can. The touch-up textured titanium white mixture absolutely can go over pastels. That's not a problem at all. Walker said, I have a question. How do you set up your paint palette to keep it from drying out? So with acrylics, what I use, let me show you. I use a Masters, hold on, I don't remember. Let's look at it. Masterson. I just knocked brushes down. So this is my palette. It's basically like a big Tupperware. I'll just hold it up here so you can see where that comes off. And then inside of it is a New Wave glass palette. You can see that's a hot mess. That fits everything. Now, that said, actually let's take advantage of the palette camera and actually show you. So what I do, this paint is all completely dried out from the painting I did this week. I should have, if I wanted to make this last longer, I would just take a just a normal paper towel, get it wet, and I leave it in the corner somewhere. And that is going to, with the lid on, it's going to keep all of this paint wet except this area. The areas like this that I have been mixing paint, that is too thinned out and I use water, so it's going to dry faster. That's going to dry no matter what. But I can keep these chunks of paint, they are super dried out now. I had left the lid off for quite a bit, but I could have kept all of those chunks wet and ready to keep using. Like they can stay wet for a month. If I had put a paper towel, a wet paper towel, and then when I put the lid on, that'll keep it good. So that is what I use. Now this palette, the Masterson's palette, it's technically called a stay wet palette, or like that's their little, what do you call it, like system that they expect you to use. Is all of that. Actually, let me put this back where it was. They want you to use their product. It's like this wet paper that you keep in the palette and it keeps everything wet and you put your paint directly on that. The problem is it makes the paint, I don't know, it changes the consistency. Now, if you're a newer painter, you might not notice the difference, but as somebody who's been doing this for longer than most of you have been alive, it's going to, it makes it gunky. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't like the texture of what it does to that paint. So yeah, I don't use that at all. The other thing is they can start to stink. That can build up bacteria because it's wet paper. Like it's wet and it stays wet all the time. Paper towel, I can toss, no problem. Like I just toss it and put a new one in. I hate that smell of old wet, like no. Sponges and all that, gross, no. I'm gonna hard pass on that. Some people will actually take a sponge and keep that wet in there. The paper towel works fine and I can throw it away and put a new piece in as needed without wasting an entire sponge. So that is what I use there. Oh, I lost my phone. Okay. Jen said, do you ever use vine or willow charcoal? I have it. I've done it for sketches with like, back with the Smart Art box, but, or I think they're called Muse box now, but I just didn't love it. I talked about that earlier. I don't really love it, mainly because it's just kind of messy, and I have a bunch of it here. I like the idea of it and it looks all artsy. I think I like it better for props than to actually use, but that's just because I'm weird about things being messy. One SGWW said, what's in your nails this week? They were my voting, wait, you can't see that way. Can you see like the little red, white, and blue? They were my voting nails, for yesterday. I love I'm really loving the Lantern and Wren. Anything that has like a lot of detail. There's a Christmas one that I think I want to get that has red and white stripes. That's so cute. Now, after I like the detail on these so much, I may get those Christmas ones. I'm having way too much fun with the Lily, did I say Lantern and Wren? That's who I used to get my stamping stuff from. From Lily and Fox, that's who I get these nail wraps from. They are so fun and they last so much longer than nail polish. They have like, I can't wait for you guys, I'm all excited to show you guys. The spring designs, some of those are so much fun. I'm really looking forward to spring this year. I've got some cute nails for that. Okay, and it's fun because you can do like seasonal everything. I did Halloween stuff for a month and a half. We've got like voting day nails. I've got some next year for 4th of July. I've got so many Christmas ones. I've got a bunch of snowman ones for the cold of January. So yeah, anyway, no one cares. Move on. Jen said, I may or may not have ordered a set of polychromos. I told my husband Lisa made me do it. I will take the blame from that because that is such a good purchase. I love, like, polychromos are so nice. Python Viper said, what kind of paint do you like to use for your paintings? So it depends on the kind. If I'm doing acrylic paints, I am a huge fan of, which is going to sound like I'm cheap. I am, but that's not why I like these. The Liquitex Basics. They're cheap, like the cheap ones. Those are my favorite. I hate any generic paint. I hate, Hobby Lobby's got one of the worst. Anything generic, I don't like. Blicks, I do not like generic paint. You've got some archival issues. Excuse me, I burped like a classy lady. You've got some archival issues with those, but they're also just, they don't blend well. They're not easy, because you may think, well, I'm just learning, I'll get the cheap stuff. First off, Liquitex Basics, buy it from Blick. You usually get the best prices. Sometimes I get it for a good price on Amazon. But Blick generally has really good prices on the Liquitex Basics, much more so than Hobby Lobby or Michaels, because they've been shifting and trying to carry their own generic crap. The generic crap is not easy to work with. It doesn't blend nicely. When you thin it with water, like, Liquitex Basics is just wonderful to work for my techniques. I should be specific on that, because if you're doing something with a heavier brush stroke, going more impressionism, you may want to go with a soft body or a heavy body paint. But for what I do with Liquitex Basics, absolutely my favorites. So, and they mark, like, people call it a student grade. They're still archival. Now, so they do have fluorescent colors that are not archival. Like any fluorescent paint, it doesn't matter the brand, never going to be archival. But like your normal colors, they're still archival, so there's no reason not to use them. And the way that I layer, they just work better. They photograph great because they have a more matte finish. There's a little bit of gloss with the darker colors. You will get some of that, so you have to, it can be a pain to photograph well, but it's not as bad as if you've got like a high gloss paint, so your Liquitex heavy body, Goldens, Liquitex soft body, those are all going to dry with like naturally on their own. My glasses are really dirty. There's a spot on them. They're going to dry with a gloss to them. Oh, that I can see you. Oh, hi. They're going to dry with a higher gloss, and that's really difficult to photograph. So I love a high gloss, but I put a varnish on after I got my photos, and that's a big part of your art. You've got to get good photos of it so you can make prints and post it online. If it's got a high gloss, that's going to be way more difficult. So yeah, Liquitex Basics for acrylics is my favorite. For oil paints, so oils are horribly expensive. I usually go with, I have my Winsor & Newton Artist paint. Winsor & Newton Winton is what I normally start students out with. It's not as good, but you can learn with it and it works fine. You have to thin it out a little bit more with your mixing medium. That's basically the difference, whereas like the artist colors are already softer, so you don't need to or thin them out as much to get the flow. I really like Grumbacher's oil paint because they're not one of your super expensive ones. And was there another one, or is that it? Is that all I'm thinking of? Winsor & Newton Artist. Where's the other one? Yeah, Grumbacher. They're pre-tested professional. That's the one. My normal go-to. Usually when I order paints now, that's the one I order. The Winsor & Newton Winton color was convenient because most stores still carried it in stock, and when they used to have 40% coupons, I would just buy a tube of paint then. They don't do that anymore, so I don't bother, and I just go to Dick Blick usually and order the Grumbacher's. Got a really nice texture to it. Okay. Let's see. Jensen, non-art question. Are you going to make any more videos where you spray your husband in the face with a squirt bottle? You know what's so funny about that? You would not believe the amount of hate I get from random people with no sense of humor. They take it as this weird, like, you're disrespecting men by doing that. And I'm like, oh my God, get over it. We've been married for, over 24 years. Trust me, we're good. Like you don't stay married that long without a sense of humor. And we have videos where he makes fun of me or pokes fun at me, but people act like he should. I had one woman, 3 nasty comments. This was maybe 2 days ago. I think it was Monday. 3 nasty comments on that video about how he should have sprayed me in the face. If that was the joke at the time, why not? Like, it was just so bizarre. And the funny part, I was telling Matt about that because we always laugh at the stupid comments of people being so offended I would dare spray a man in the face, you know, because I guess men don't have sense of humor. I don't know. Matt's one of the funniest people I know, so that's not true. But anyway, I get so much hate with that. And it's funny because my initial thought with the spray bottle, because I was making a point about spray bottles, like that you don't want to spray a dog in the face, like with it, like people would use it to spray a cat or a dog to correct them. I'm like, oh God, I would get so much hate from people for being mean to the animals with a spray bottle, which my dogs would probably be like, what was that? Because I've never used it on them. But you know how people are just so like, don't ever do anything that might be considered mean to a dog. If they're that mad about me spraying Matt, who was like agreed to the whole joke, I can't even imagine how much hate I would have gotten if I had sprayed one of the dogs with it, assuming the dog would have been aware that I did it at all. But oops, close that. Yeah, I get a weird amount of hate for that one of people with no sense of humor that are just like so mad at me about being this horrible person. And if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't think it was funny. ma'am, you know, it will surge. I get men and women complaining about this. It's like, you think he wasn't in on that? Like, that wasn't a part, it was a skit. Like, we both wrote it. People are just too people-y. It always, it's like, wow, you must be a real blast at parties. I'm sure everyone loves hanging around you, right? You're a gem. Anyway, are we going to do more? I don't know with that specific skit, although I kind of wanted just to piss people off because apparently some of them are really angry about jokes. But yeah, we definitely need to do more skit sort of things. Let's see. Jen said, art question, is there a way to fix Spectrafix spots on Pan Pastel? My Fine Mist sprayer betrayed me and left a couple of giant spots on my piece today. If I go over them with more Pan Pastel, they're still visible, almost like it'll affect the paper. I would either work that, because that does sometimes happen, and I normally can cover that when it happens with more Pan Pastels, or I just don't care when it happens all that much. I'm like, it's a part of the design now. Or like with the Red Panda when I was working on him, if that happened, I could widen a leaf up, put hair, but like see if you can cover it with a different, like something else so that it's not as obvious. I know that that's not always going to be easy if you had a super smooth background. Sometimes it just happens, but I have hidden it with other, like with my pencils, like gone over it with pencils with different things to hide it when that has happened, or I just don't care. Like, maybe that's not the answer anyone's looking for, but I don't really care if those spots show a little bit. Like it's an original art. It doesn't bother me. I'm like, yeah, that's a part of the design now. It was all intentional. Let me add more so you think it's really looks intentional. I know that doesn't help, but sometimes you're right. Sometimes they're just not going to hide it. Normally, I can just go over it with more Pan Pastel and hide it. But I've had where you're talking about where it wouldn't cover all the way. I just left it. I don't care. Not like, it didn't ruin anything. I'm sure it could be in a place that would ruin things, but normally I just cover it with something else or leave it. Because it's not ever been so big. That usually will happen too if you're putting it on heavy. Like when I spray during the live stream, I put it on too heavy because I'm limited on time. Farther back and a super light mist will help avoid that. So that's your best bet. Let's see. Audrey said, when doing colored pencil on pastel mat, should you use the smooth or the rough side? Isn't pastel mat? What am I thinking? Hold on. Which paper is that? Don't I have some of that? I may not know the answer because if it's not what I think I have, then I don't know. I've not used it. Oh, I'm not going to find that in here. I've got a whole cabinet of a lot of different paper. Oh, Lord, there's a lot in here. I'm trying to see if the one you're talking about is the one I'm thinking of, but it might not be the same. I don't even remember what size I have. Someone actually, if it's the one I'm thinking, one of you guys sent it to me to test. I really liked it, but it's been a long time. It's not my usual go-to. I mean, not for any good reason. I liked it well enough. What is that? Canson. That's marker paper. Oh, there's more black paper. At least I found something good. Here we go. Okay, I do have pastel mat. Let's see. I haven't used it in a while. Smooth side or rough side? Oh, the rough side. The smooth side's like plasticky. You don't want to draw on that. Yeah, the rough side, the front side, whatever is on the front. If this is the one you're using, you've got this. You've got your sheet of like glassine. This is the side you want. This is the back. That's like, it's plasticky. Nothing's going to stick real well to that. Okay. Oh, I need to do another piece on this because I did like this paper. You just get so used to doing the things, working on the papers you're like used to. You keep grabbing the same ones all the time. At least that's what I do. Okay. Where am I? Jeanette said, is it okay to throw water used with acrylic paint down the sink? If not, how does one dispose of it? Okay, so my recommendation, the paint, if you're like me, that paint can get thick because I don't change it out very often because it can basically turn into mud and it doesn't affect the colors on the painting. So I'm not changing it regularly. What I recommend doing, you take your paintbrush that has a lot of paint on it, wipe it off like this, get as much off onto the paper towel, then rinse it in your water well. So that water is now going to be super thin and that can go down the drain. But you don't want like that thick chunky paint. When your paintbrush has a ton of paint on it, don't rinse that and then throw that down the drain. that it's too thick and chunky, and if that does start to dry, that could potentially clog things. Normally what happens though, when people comment that paint is clogging, so if you do my method where you're wiping it off and it's just basically stained water that, or like thickness, it would end up being that of milk. That can go down the drain, but where people will run into problems where a plumber will come in and be like, oh, you've got a clog, I see paint, don't dump paint down. What normally is happening is people are also throwing grease, fat, things like we had a problem when I was teaching out of Michael's. The cake, actually Hobby Lobby too, the cake decorators were rinsing the fondant stuff down the drain, that greasy frosting, all of that was, you can't put that down the drain. And so that's what was clogging it. Then I would dump my paint water and they would see that, assuming the paint did it. The paint's not what was clogging, it was the grease, the fatty stuff. That's what's causing the real clog. Mine was just getting backed up on top of that because there was an already clogged. But if your pipes are in good condition, it's gonna run down just like milk would. It should never be thicker than that. So if you are making such a mess that you've got like sludge, dump the water, but wipe that out and throw that away in the trash. I don't want actual sludge going down the sink. That could potentially cause issues, but like paint water, if it's just like the consistency of milk, not a problem. Okay. Whoops, stop it. Monica said, why do some artists use rubbing alcohol on hard pastel? Can you use it on pan pastel too? I don't use alcohol on anything. That smell is just way too much for me. But I don't know because I don't use pastel, like normal pastels. That is in another word, like I don't use it, so I really don't know much about it. With pan pastels, again, I'm not sure. I've used odorless mineral spirits when I use colored pencil, like my Falcon. So this guy over here. I did go back over him. This was from last week's live stream. I went back over, let's see if you can kind of see. I went over him, some of this was there. Some of this was more rough, like sketchy. So I went over it and smoothed it all out with OMS. So the OMS was blending with the pan pastels that were under it. As long as you've sprayed Spectrafix, it doesn't really affect it too bad, but I'm not trying to mix it with the pan pastels. I'm just blending out, excuse me, the colored pencil, if that makes sense, but it can be used with that with no issue. So I don't know with alcohol. I've not used it. I was reading, because I did research that at one time, and I cannot remember the reason I decided against ever using alcohol in my work. I don't know if it changed the pH. There was something that happened with alcohol that made me go, yeah, no, that's not for me. I'm not using that in my work. So I don't know why you would want to, with pan pastels, use alcohol. But like, I don't know what the benefit would be of that. So, I mean, it blends smooth without the need of anything like that. So I don't know. That's a whole lot of words to say. I don't know. I wouldn't do it. Marie said, I sprayed a colored pencil painting, Canson pastel paper with brush and pencil final fixative. Let's see, Canson, ooh, with a Canson pastel paper though. Yeah, not meant for that. And now I want to add more colored pencil. Can I now spray it with brush and pencil texture fixative to keep it working? I don't know. Go to Brush and Pencil's website, brushandpencil.com. There should be a way to contact Aliona. She's the inventor of that product. I would ask her. I don't know on that. I would lean towards being safe and saying no. But I genuinely don't know. She's going to be able to answer that way better than I possibly could. Oh, good. We've got a question from our Patreon discount. By the way, I mentioned earlier about Patreon. If you like my longer, like the lessons like this, the real-time stuff, I have over 400 available over on Patreon for as little as $6 a month, but you also get access to our Discord server. So it's like a chat service. So we chat all day long. You can post photos of your work in progress. You can post photos of your plants, your animals. We've got different channels for different subjects, random, normal art conversation or anything that happens to be going on with you. We have all kinds of conversations in there. So definitely check that out. But we've also got some questions here straight from Patreon. So again, patreon.com/Lachri if you want to join us there. Emma said, I've got some pan pastel, I missed that. I've got some pan pastel and pencil drawings that I've matted and prepped for sale. The matting came with backing board and bags. Will storing them flat in the unsealed bags damage the drawings? In the unsealed bags? No, it shouldn't. You should be fine. Fullen said, question, how many times, now I say that, but it's, what if the person who was making the bag got oil on it? I mean, I don't know. Something could always go wrong, but I store them like that and I've not had any problems. So I'll reword that. You never know, something could happen, but you're probably fine. Fallen said, how many times should one trace something before one draws it? And doesn't matter how many times you trace beforehand. Trying to figure out a set number, otherwise my anxiety will win, and I just tell myself maybe I should trace one more time and never end up drawing it freehand. So what I would do, give yourself, when you're first starting with something, 10 times trace it. Because you're just doing quick tracings, you know, getting a general feel for it. Say 10 times, freehand it once. 10 times, freehand it once. But you can start minimizing. If you're going to keep retracing the same thing, let's say you're working on a rose and you just want to get it perfect, or a dog, whatever. Trace it the 10 times, do the quick tracing, and then freehand it. And depending on how well you feel you did, maybe trace it 5 more times. Maybe you need to trace it another 10 times. It's going to vary. There's no one size fits everybody. My normal go-to, like when I'm getting someone started with learning to draw from tracing, trace it 10 times, freehand it. Trace it 10 times, freehand it. But I do know that you should get to a point where you're comfortable enough, you're improving enough with the freehanding that you don't need, maybe trace it 1 time and then freehand it. So if you're really focusing on one specific subject. But the cool thing is, even when, like let's say you keep tracing and freehanding a dog, you do that enough, you go to freehand a cat, and your cat is also going to have improved, even though you didn't trace it a bunch of times. Because what you're doing in doing it is improving and increasing your own drawing skills in general. It's not that you're only perfecting how to draw that dog. You're forcing your eye and your brain to notice what's really there versus what it's assuming is there. Because those are 2 very different things. Our brain assumes a whole lot. Wow, that can be taken in just about any context. Like, we tend to just assume things that are not true. What it's forcing you to do is see reality, see truth, see the facts of that drawing. So it's teaching you to draw accurately in general. You're not only learning how to accurately draw that dog. So like I said, you could draw 10 times and freehand that dog, draw 10 times, freehand that dog. You need doing the same subject if you want, but it should also improve your skills for a cat, for a bird, for anything else, because you're just really refining your skills of noticing the detail that is in that photo. Because what happens, like I said, we assume we know what's there, but we're not really looking at the detail. And you're going to start noticing stuff. The more you do it, the more you draw in general, the more you're going to really start noticing things. We don't notice a lot at first. We're like, okay, I see a dog. Eyes and a nose and a head, good, right? No, there's so much more than that. Look at the eye. Look at there's like a eyelid that kind of goes, or the tear line on the underside of the eye. You're going to notice where the shadow is on the underside of the upper eyelid caused by that upper eyelid, and how that causes a shadow on almost down to the pupil, depending on how the lighting is. Like, these little things are what you're going to start noticing. Little ridges on the nose, little ridges, little bump on the inner corner of the eye. There are things like that, those little things that you don't even notice when you first look at it. And by tracing, it forces you to start paying attention to little detail you wouldn't have otherwise. So again, you're not only learning to draw that specific dog because you kept tracing that one. You're learning to notice details that are in any photo. So that's what you're really teaching yourself to do. It's not, people think it's a hand-eye coordination thing, has nothing to do with that. Like, almost nothing to do with that. It's about noticing the details and noticing when something is off. Noticing, like, how far away is this eye from this, like, little patch over the eye? You start noticing those sorts of things. Marie said, same question about continuing to work after spraying with Spectrafix. Can more charcoal be added after it's been sprayed? Any trick to this? Oh yeah, with Spectrafix, you can keep layering. Layer on top of layer. It actually is better if you work a little bit, spray it, work a little bit, spray it. It's going to help it to be even more adhesive to the paper than just spraying it once at the end. So like if you're doing a lot of layers, then I would definitely stop every so often, spray it, and then keep working, because it's a workable fix. You can keep working over it. But yeah, the more you spray it that way, definitely the better. Let's see. Where are we? Alex, is this with this? Even though it's a little different. Okay, I don't know what that is in relation to. We've got 15 minutes. Have any more questions? Or do I need to pull up things to ramble about? Oops. Why do I keep clicking the wrong thing? Okay. Let's see. Oh, here we go. DJ said, I'm falling asleep sitting up. I got to go. Great stream. Thank you. Great work, mods. Hugs to all of you. Well, have a good night, DJ. Thanks for joining. Let's see. Oh, tea. I need this. Let's go. I'm trying to think, what else can we talk about? Oh, if you guys are not a member, if you look up art scammers on Facebook, join that group if you're a Facebook user. It is a group where people post things that they think are scams or they're not sure, and they'll post, and then those of us who are familiar with scams and how they work can answer like, yes, it's a scam. No, you're probably fine. It's almost always a scam. But I would highly recommend joining that group if you sell your work and you're ever unsure. One of the things that happens a lot, and then the funny thing is, part of it can be, if you're realistic about where your current skill level is. Like one lady, she does really cool paintings of cats. So this isn't so much a skill level as they're more, it's a very loose style. They're not very realistic. And somebody contacted her claiming he wanted to make stamps out of her work. And oh, she was going to make all this money doing this. First off, her work doesn't work for stamps. It's not that type of artwork. But you also have a lot of people who are beginners to art. They're still painting. They're still at the I painted this with my feet stage. Trust me, I was there too. That's not a bash. And it also doesn't mean you won't be amazing. We all started that I painted it with my feet stage. But when you're still at the I painted it with my feet stage, the chances of someone wanting to spend thousands of dollars to buy that work, or just be realistic about it. What will happen is you post on Facebook, you post on Instagram, wherever. They do it on every social media platform. But they'll contact you, and they're usually really kind of rude and short about wanting to buy it. Actually, let me just pull one up. I'll pull it up on this. I'll read what some of these conversations go like to give you an idea of what they say to people. And it's funny to me when they start getting really rude about it. Let's see. Whoops. Hold on. My friend made a cleaning paintbrush for his daughters. I don't know what the heck that is. Let's see. Where am I looking? Art scammers. It's art scam / scammers is the group, but definitely check that out. Let me find one. This is most likely. So the first thing will be somebody posts a photo of the artwork that they just finished. Just like, here's my art. This is how the conversation will go. Usually it follows something very similar to this. Is this still available? The artist responds, yes. I want it shipped to my address. How much will it cost? He gives an address, random. It's always a random Florida one. She said $10 shipping. She gives the information. Once the invoice is paid, he goes, okay, I pay through PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, and Zelle method. She says, no, I only do the invoice through my email address. Then is this the same person? Another person messages, and you know, we're still at the beginner stage. You probably don't have this many people beating down your door to buy art that you're not listing as available for sale. Is it still available? She said, yes. How much does it cost? She said, $65. That's cool. Where are located? Watch for the grammar things. That is the first red flag thing. And one of the things that people misunderstand is they'll use bad grammar. It's not because English is their second language. They oftentimes speak English better than we do. They'll do that because if you can see all of these red flags and you keep talking to them, they're like, okay, I might actually be able to pull one over on them. With me, they don't want people like me who are aware of scammers and notice all the red flags. They don't want to waste their time with me. So they'll throw these red flags out there, and if the person keeps talking with them, it's like, okay, that may be worth trying to scam them because they're not picking up on these really obvious red flags. So let's see, $65, do you ship? She said, yes, I can ship. Okay, where are located? Oh, I said that. She says, I'm in California, gives the zip code, I need your email. PayPal invoice? She said, no, if you'd like to purchase, send me your email and I can send the invoice. I'm trying to see some of these other ones. It's so common. They'll take a photo, a screenshot of the thing that you just posted. Still available? Available? What's price? Let's see. Hi, available for sale? There's a common one. Yes, it's for sale. Okay, how much does it cost? They give the thing. What's the price? And no matter what price you give them, they'll say it's fine. This one said for this painting was $2,000 or 2,000 pounds. So, oh, that's okay. Can you ship to my home address? Like, what? This person, it was funny. He's like, tell you what, why don't we just stop messing around, stop trying to scam honest people and do something useful? Sorry, what do you actually mean by this? You go, then that person bailed. But no matter what price you give them, you could say $65, you could say $2,000. It doesn't matter. Okay, fine. How much is shipping? You ship to my address. This is these are just very common scams. Be aware of them. It is so, and it's getting worse on Instagram and Facebook. You post anything and you'll find people in your inbox trying, is available, is still available, available for purchase. And it's funny, it could be a painting you did of your own child or somebody else's child. They'll want to buy that too. So painting of someone else's dog, they want to buy it. Is available. And like, they don't care what it is, they just are trying to make that transaction. The most common, there's a few different variations, my eye itches. There's a few different variations of the scam, but one of the main ways that they do, or things that they're going to do, is they'll say they need your email address and they're going to PayPal the money to you. They send it to you and they'll screenshot this fake page that looks like it was paid. It'll say that it was paid. It's a screenshot from PayPal saying that it was paid, but in order for the payment to go through, PayPal is going to send you a code, and I need you to give me the code so that the funds are released to you. What they're doing is resetting your password, and once you give them that code, they're going to log it. It gives them the ability to get into your PayPal thing, and they will instantly lock you out, change the email to theirs. They have access to all your funds in your bank accounts. So be very careful. Be realistic. If you're a beginner, there's not probably that many people trying to buy your art just yet. And if you're at a place where you want to sell your artwork, you're ready for it, put it put it on Etsy or eBay. If you don't want to have your own website, ideally have your own website where you can just send them there. So if a scammer contacts me, I'm like, here's a link. End of conversation. If you don't want to buy through my website, you're not buying at all. But why mess around with? We don't need to have a one-on-one conversation unless you have specific questions about the art. So just be aware these scams are so freaking common. But I love this group because I think the more people that are in it, the more people that are reading these posts and just familiarizing themselves with what a scam looks like, the less likely you are to be scammed. So again, I'm not like I don't even know who owns that group. It's just a really good one for being aware. You can also, my art group, I've got one on MeWe, I've got one on Facebook. You can post in there too if you're not sure. Somebody's going to see it and let you know if there are red flags or not. And there's so many different scams for artists. They're coming after us like crazy. And it's sad because as artists, we're always excited, like, oh my gosh, I got a sale. Yay, somebody wants to buy my art. It feels good. And we let that blind us to the fact that we're actually being scammed right now. Just because we had those feel-good feelings. So, yeah. Okay. Let's see. DJ, I got that one. Joseph said, is your studio considered done now, or are there more plans for it? New additions. So it's done. I have the other things I'll do. I'm working on the studio tour. That's the thing. I actually got a bunch of B-roll for it. I'm working on it. So that tour will be soon. But yeah, it's pretty much done. It's kind of a mess right now, but it's pretty much done. I had an idea for back here behind me, a couple of ideas for back there, but I kind of like how it looks now too. Because I need to cut the lower limbs off my trees, or two of my trees. So if I do that, I could take that cool branch and then hang lights off of it. So they're anyway, I don't know. I kind of want to put that back there, but also I kind of just like the simplicity of how that is. It's easy to dust. That's always one of my things when I decorate. I love that look, almost a cluttered look, the photos, I'll see things on Pinterest and it's got all of these shelves and apothecary jars and all these cool things. And I look at that and I'm like, it's cool. But also I'm a bit of, I want everything really clean. And that looks like a pain in the rear to clean. I can smell the dust already. I know that is not good. That's not easy to clean. So yeah, but yeah, it's pretty much done. Good night, Pauline, if you're still here. Zaylove said, have you been doing any art events lately like Aquashella? No, I don't plan on doing any more. I'm not saying I never would, but I'm not planning on it. Aquashella used to be like an aquarium festival. They really focused more on YouTubers. And so for me, it was worth it to do for that alone. But they had this whole festival feeling. And now it basically just feels, at least the last one I went to, they call it the Aqua Crib. You would walk in under this huge, not a maze because you weren't going to get lost. There was this path, but you were you felt like you were walking underwater. They had all these cool art and stuff. It was so neat. I don't even know how to explain it. It was just so neat, this glow in the dark thing. They don't do that anymore. They don't do any of the cool stuff they had. And the last couple of years when I've been, I always get stuck to big brands like Neptune with BRS. I was stuck next to, if you're a fish person, you know what I'm talking about. What was the other one? Seachem, or one of the, I think it was Seachem. Another big company that had this huge, stupid freaking wheel that people could go spin the wheel to win a prize, which was cool. They were genius on their booth. It was a nice booth. However, that dang wheel was hiding my booth. I was basically hidden behind this stupid thing, and people were so crowded trying to get freebies that they wouldn't walk down that aisle. People just didn't come to my booth. Like, I mean, it was there are more big name vendors than small name, like they should have put all the artists together. That's what they used to do. And then for some reason they stopped doing that. We're just spread out all over the place. And it's not organized well. They're using AI art instead. Like they already paid me. So I don't know why they wouldn't have me do the actual, somebody was too lazy to contact me is what it was. It just isn't what it was. So anyway, I decided, and it was so exhausting for me. It's very exhausting. I just don't make enough money to make it worth doing. I lose money at these events because I have to have all the prints made. But I'd have to sell a ridiculous amount of prints to make up for what I ordered. And no matter what it is I order, one of them will sell out. So I'll think, okay, I need more of this for next show. Then none of them sell. A different one sells. So it's always kind of a pain. But yeah, no, I don't have any plans for doing them. I don't like doing the big in-person events. They're so exhausting, big art shows and stuff. I say big person events. Events that I go to and demonstrate, that I would be fine doing, but I don't want to have my own booth anymore. I guess that's it. Like if anybody, like if I got involved in one, that would be it. I would go in, not as a speaker, but as a demonstrator with art on the stage. I would agree to do that, but not having a booth. It wasn't set up in a way that benefited people like me. Again, I was hiding, you're hidden behind these big names who aren't even there selling anything. They're advertising their product, and it's like, yeah, it's too commercialized, I guess, maybe that, I don't know. So like, I don't even think I would go to the next Aquashella. There's nothing I need. My tank is already full with enough coral, so I don't even need to go to shop now. Let's see. Clark Fine Art said, good night all, great stream. Thank you, thanks for joining us. Do I still do in-person art lessons? I do not. I do the online ones, take up all my time, but that way I can like have, instead of charging, well, at the time I think it was $20 or $25, it would be more now, for an in-person group class per person each week, $20, $25, you're doing $6 and you get all my lessons, 400 of them. Like, it's a way better deal. Zay said, it's my birthday Friday. Oh, happy birthday. I consider this live stream one of my gifts as it keeps me motivated to draw this week. Nice. Let's see. Ashley said this, and happy birthday. Ashley said, this is my first time watching a live stream. Loved it. You're hilarious and so knowledgeable. Thank you. Fun personality. Aw, thank you. Would it be weird if I went and told my husband I have a fun personality? Someone told me. Thank you for all your words and professional and personal. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm so glad you made it. Okay, we are 9:58. Oh, we've got 2 minutes. And then I get to go hang out with my baby bird. French fry is waiting for me. See, were there any other scammers I can read? I get them a lot too. Here's another one. Actually, this one was a really good one. This one was someone who sells on Etsy. So even if you're on Etsy, they are still going to try to scam you. If you're on Etsy, they would pay from Etsy. You'll get an email from Etsy that the purchase is all that's been done. They had a message through Etsy that said, message, general message, congratulations, your item has been purchased. Order number, and it's a made-up order number, the order has been paid for. So again, we've got some grammar issues. We estimate that the delivery will take approximately 5 to 7 business days. Wait, you said you ordered, but you're telling me the delivery? It makes no sense. But again, they intentionally do these things that make no sense because if you read this, you fall for it, you're an easy mark. You're an innocent, like maybe a bit naive, but innocent. And they're like, they prey on people who are just trusting. So not people like me who are jerks and don't trust anybody. They're avoiding people like me. They don't mess with me too much, unfortunately, because it's kind of fun to mess back with them. Let's see, regarding your request for special verification, we have processed this and will address it accordingly. Please copy the link below and the instructions. It's a mandatory procedure. Well then, please let me know if you have any other questions. But they try to make this person was like, wait, did my item sell? She was confused. She didn't know. She doesn't sell a lot on Etsy to know that wasn't legitimate. So they will try to scam you on everything. Okay, 9:59. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Make sure to check out our moderators' channels. Joseph Fincham and Clark Fine Art both have live streams every week. Definitely check them out. You've got a lot of the same people. If you enjoy chatting with the people in this chat, same people over in that chat. So it's just a lot of fun. Nick, he occasionally uploads an edited video. He's got some really good ones on his channel that are super helpful, so definitely check those out. And yes, I have merch in my merch shop, lachrimerch.com. Again, you can sign up Patreon, patreon.com/Lachri. No, Chase is telling me I need to put money back in my account. It's getting low, apparently. I'm like, why did I get a notification? No one needs to know. Anyway, check those out. And of course, Lachri.com will give you more information from prints to the merch to, I got all the stuff on Lachri.com. Links to everything, original art, that is all there. Also, oh no, I need to update it more often. I try to update whatever the next live stream is going to be, but I'm always late, so I won't even bother with that. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next week.